These blank things don't do us a whole lot of good. Let's make it so that we can type inside them. So we're going to do this by essentially adding the ability to edit an existing thing, because even these blank ones exist. So we'll get kind of 2 for the price of 1 here. It'd be nice to just throw content editable on that div. We learned yesterday that that's a little bit more complicated in React because of the way it's bound to state, or a prop, actually, when it's down at that level. So we need to do something a little differently. Fortunately, someone has done the work for us. Here's a package called react-contenteditable. Gives us a React component for a div with editable contents. So let's install this. If you have yarn add react-contenteditable. If you don't have yarn, that would be npm install --save react content editable. So these commands do 2 things. One, it installs the thing, which puts it inside the node modules folder. 2, they add that package to package.json, so that when someone else pulls down this project and runs yarn install or npm install, it will also install this thing. If you just did npm install without --save, it would not add it to package.json. That's changing in an upcoming version of npm. But in the current version, you have to have --save. Yarn does it automatically. What was the yarn? Yarn add. Yarn add React content editable. So how do we use it? All right, here's an example. This example is using non-ES6 syntax, but we can deal with that. Okay, so first we import it, and it's using an old syntax for that, but we know we're going to have to import it. React.create class is how you create components if you're not using ES6 classes. All right, here's the magic, this JSX. So it gives us a component called content editable. Where do we want to add that? Which component? Thing. It's this right here, right? It's this div. So we're just going to replace that div. Notice the contents of this div right now, thing.name. Remember that. That will be the answer to the next question I ask. So now you're really in trouble if you don't know it. All right. Let's put that new component in here. Let's import it first. Import content editable from react-content editable, the name of the npm package it comes from. Put it in here. Content editable, self-closing tag. Heck, does that do something by itself? Oh man, all kinds of terrible things happened. Whew. Now there's nothing in there. Let's look at its props. HTML equals. So that's the inner HTML of the editable div. Let's add that prop. HTML equals what? That's right. Thing.name. Which makes sense too, not just because I threatened you. Let's look now. Hey, there they are. Can I click in them? I sure can. Now our old div had a class of name, and there were some styles being applied to that. So let's add that back. Class name equals name. There, now they're full width. What else? Okay, you can disable it or not, and you can have an on-change handler. So that when you type in there, something else happens. That seems relevant to our interests. So what should it do on change? Save the changes to the thing. But the thing's a prop, and our props are read-only. Changing that is not going to change our state, is it? Where, in what component, can we change the thing? Which component can actually change the thing permanently? App, gosh darn right. The more of you who seem to know these things, the less I will slow down class and ask every single question before I type it. So let's add something here. Let's call it, I don't know why I'm making that horse noise. Let's just call it save thing. Save thing. I'm going to make it accept a thing as an argument. So let's not worry right now about how that thing gets in there. We have a method on app that receives a thing as an argument. How can we update state with that new thing? We need to update things, right? So we're going to do the same thing as last time. We're going to make a copy. And at the end, we're going to set state. What happens in between? Don't answer out loud. Take a moment and think about this. The thing with the name already changed. Don't worry about how it gets changed. It's been passed into this method already changed. How do we update it within this thing's object? How to replace the old version of that specific thing with the new version of that specific thing. Here's a hint. It is one of the lines from add thing. All but two of the lines are here. You got a 50-50 chance. What do you say, Sam 9000? Things, that's our object. Thing.id, that would be the key where this thing already lives, right? Replace it with the thing that was passed in. Very good. So now let's worry about how we call that. We need to call it from way down here when this content editable changes. How are we going to get save thing down there? To pass something from one component to another. Yes. Thank you. So, oh man, I got header, I got add thing button, I got ThingList. Which one do I need to add a prop to? Don't say it out loud. I need save thing to get passed as a prop to one of the other components. Which component am I going to pass it to? I'm not asking because it's tricky. I'm asking to make sure you're paying any attention whatsoever. So what do you say? Let's see who looks the most scared. Jason. You don't look the most scared, by the way. Okay, so save thing is going to get called when we update this content editable, right? So I need to be able to say on change that thing. So ultimately, this method has to get all the way down there. So to get down to the thing from app, we need to go through the thing list. I'm going to go ahead and put it on another line just for the sake of squeezing it all on the screen. So let's just put save thing equals this dot save thing. No parens, we're not calling it. That would pass the return value as the prop. We want the function itself. So now we've got it in ThingList. Fat lot of good that does it. We need it in the thing. So how are we going to do that? Here's our thing. So we need to add a prop to thing, right? Called save thing. What is that going to be equal to? Props dot save thing. That's right. We don't have a local variable called save thing, but it is part of props. So now that we have it, down in the thing component, looking back at our README for react-contenteditable, we see we can add a non-change prop and pass it a function. Now if we just stuck it in the onChange, the onChange is going to pass, what is its argument? The event, right? So we could use bind to get around that, or we could just make a little arrow function that's going to call what we actually want to call. Or a named function. Let's make a named function. It's going to have to do two things. ThingList, yeah. This is all I actually changed. I just spread it onto a couple lines. So let's make a function to handle this event. I'm going to call it update name. Const update name equals arrow function that takes an event. And then our content editable needs an onChange. We're going to set that to update name. Why not this update name? Because this is not a class. Update name is just a function inside this function. So now what can we do with that? We could get the target of the event and try to get the value out of that. Let's try something here. Console.log event.target, and let's also console log event.currentTarget. Now on change, that should happen as soon as we do anything to that thing. Now, yeah, we got a problem here because I misspelled console. That's better. First of all, are they editable? Yep, they're still editable, so we didn't break things that badly. Let's flip over to our console. Okay, looks like it already counted as a change. So event target is this object. Event current target is the div. So it's kind of handy that React Content Editable happens to return this object as event target, because that contains the value, which is what we need to know, right? So it looks like ev.target.value gives us what we typed in there. So knowing that ev.target.value is what we typed in there, what should update name do? We have what we typed. What are we going to do with that information inside the thing component? First of all, where's the thing? Where's the thing object that has an ID and a name? How do we refer to it from inside here? Just thing, right? It's right here. Came out of the props. So how about thing.name equals event target value? Seems legit. But that's not going to update state yet, right? To do that, we need to call save thing. How do I do that? Let's see. Is it being passed in as a prop at this point? Let's have a look. Let's look at our thing. There's thing. Look at our props. We have thing, and we have save thing. Great. Now we have a way to get to thing. We don't have a way to get to save thing yet, right? So we can just add it to this list. So now I can call save thing, and save thing wants the updated thing as its argument. And it seems that that ought to do it. Let's try it out. Let's keep a look on our app state here. We got these three things, right? We add one. There it is. It has a blank name. Let's type a name in there. Like, what's your favorite breakfast cereal? Sam 8000? Cornflake. Kellogg's? Oh, man. As soon as I start typing stuff. So what happened when I typed? What event fired? On change, right? What's this say? I know what I should do. I see an error message. I should not read that thing. And I should just assume that I can't go any further until the next day when I'm going to ask Seth. No, I'm going to read this error message and see what's up. Cannot read property state of undefined. So that's, poop. Let's do it again. Blah, blah. Okay. Not read property state of undefined. So something is undefined when we didn't think it would be. Here we go. App.js line 32, const things, this.state.things. So what's undefined? This, right? All right, so save thing, we're going to have to use the same trick that we used on add thing. We'll just use a property initializer. We could have also called bind on it. Save that. Okay, let's try this again, see if it explodes. What's your favorite cereal? Adam that's looking at me. Hater. So we typed something in there. Did it actually update state? Let's have a look. Do we believe? There it is. This is the one. Oh, yes. Even React knows he's a hater. So now we can update the existing ones. Let's have a look at that. I think that's 3, right? Hey, there are the exclamation marks. That works on new ones. All right. We can edit things, folks. Our lives are so much richer for it.